watch Eli Kassis, one of my favorites to watch on the SCG Tour, always against Kevin Jones. Both these players 4-0, and we're going to watch them do battle here in just a moment.
And for standard level play, I think there is a chance that when we look back at the set, we say Rogue Refiner was the most powerful card. Probably not for larger formats because, you know, there's a lot of ways to get 2-for-1s and what are you doing with energy. But in standard, I think this is, just on rate alone,
Okay.
I think this card's very impressive. And if the format isn't too fast or too combo-oriented, could be one of the best cards, if not the best card.
Speaking of mana fixing, there is a Prophetic Prism. So Eli will draw a card. He's got a Hub and Inspiring Vantage. Kevin Jones just has a Wandering Fumarole. So already off to a fantastic start. Here is Kassis. There we go, Eli. Eli, you're not new to the feature match area. Get the big die over there. Come on. Here's an island. And Rogue Refiner, I believe. Is this your friend?
Yeah, okay. Rogue Refiner. Here it is.
We will take a look at Rogue Refiner and learn a little bit more about this card. Sure, it died. It's probably better that it did die, but it brought some energy along with it.
Just great on rate.
Kevin's got an energy left over. We'll go over to Jones. He's got an Inspiring Vantage, and now, so this is the thing that I am most interested in. Saheeli on a clean board.
Yes.
I think this is going to happen more than people realize.
No, I think this is going to be a huge part of the format, and you know, you don't feel great about using your removal spell on a threat that cantripped and replace itself and left over some energy, but you get to this spot, and now the pressure's on Kassis to tap out to get some things on the battlefield, start pressuring that Planeswalker, and if you tap too low, you can just die. This is the Splinter Twin play pattern all over again. We've seen this before.
This is a Oath of Nissa off of a island via Prophetic Prism. So Kassis is going to take a look, in the top couple of cards. He'll select Felidar Guardian. Now here's a Forest, maybe another Oath. He's actually going to attune with Ether. Okay. So he's going to gain some more energy. He's up to 5. And he'll get a basic Forest.
Are there any energy payoffs here in Kassis' deck?
Harness Lightning mostly. Does a nice job of things. Hubs. But not Servant of Conduit.
I mean, all these cards are kind of just fine on their own.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah. Not a real payoff.
Not that he needs to do it.
Yeah, just kind of freebies.
Yeah.
Kevin going to play an island. Well, he's got the combo in his hand. He could just go for broke right now. So, yeah. So, okay, so it looked like he was going to go for it. So I look at it and I'm like this. Okay, what's worst case scenario? If he has an answer, we play on. If he doesn't, he's dead.
Well, the other side of this is just why open myself up to anything when right now the board as constructed is so good for me. You have Saheeli against nothing.
Yeah.
If you make your push here and your battlefield collapses, you could lose a game. I mean, he's got Torrential Gearhulk. He's got several copies of Glimmer of Genius. It might actually be better for him. Generally, I agree with your position, but I think his position is so good right now that he can. There's an argument for waiting.
I would have a little fear of Kassis untapping with his deck when I see a Prism, a Hub, a Vantage. So he's just got access to a lot of colors of mana.
But how much?
Know what's coming?
But how much interaction is there? And it's just, yes, he can do a lot of stuff, but he's constrained by mana. If he's doing nothing, then you're just sculpting your draw the whole way through. If he taps out, then I don't know what his card is, but there can only be one. Okay. Whether it's a removal spell, it's a negate, whatever, you only have to play around the one thing.
Kassis will play his own Saheeli. It's going to go up to 4. It'll ping the other Saheeli. Top card's going to go to the bottom. A Forest. Pass the turn back with Harness Lightning still at the ready. Kevin's going to play a Glimmer of Genius here. So he's going to scry 2, he'll draw 2, and he'll get himself 2 more energy. His Jacob Ball counter will go up to 3 here in just a moment. Little fun fact for you. Glimmer of Genius, drawn by Tommy Arnold.
Okay.
Someone I went to college with.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, former Magic player. Glimmer done resolving. Now Kevin on tap. Kevin will draw. No land here.
I think he might have scried a land to the bottom, which I was a little surprised by. I understand the Inspiring Vantage is a little mopey here, but he had Torrential Gearhulk in hand. I have to imagine lands are just kind of generally valuable. And also, when you get into these sort of games, now that you know Kassis is on the combo himself, a lot of times it just comes down to mana. And can you shove your combo through with backup? Or can you put up 2 pieces of interaction when your opponent goes for the kill? So mana is just, you need a lot of it. You need a lot of it.
Definitely at a premium. Kassis has more of it right now than Jones does, that's for sure. Here's 4 mana. Well, Kassis says, I'm going to try to kill you. And now what's cute about Eli's deck, I like this a lot, he can target multiple things with his Felidar Guardian to make it more than just an average card. So his target is Oath of Nissa, which is way better than what Kevin can target with his deck.
Yes.
So now that's going to resolve, and Eli gets to look at the top couple of cards here. He'll take Rogue Refiner. A mountain here for Eli. He'll knock Kevin Saheeli down to 4 with the plus. He'll also get the Scry. Top card's going to stay on top. But what I like about Eli's turn there is a low risk opportunity to go for it.
Yes.
Kevin's going to play and anticipate. There's a hub in there, which I think he has to take. Negate and Saheeli are going to go to the bottom.
Yeah, this line of pass through, pass the Inspiring Vantage, and now take a land over a negate off the anticipate makes me really wish if I was in Jones's position that I had kept the Inspiring Vantage on top on the previous Glimmer of Genius.
An eye on the draw here for Kevin, so land's not going to be an issue in the interim. Kevin does have 2 copies of Felidar Guardian in hand. And I think he might just be going for it now. Curious as to what he's going to blink here. Yeah, he's going to go with Hub. Eli is going to take this moment with this on the stack to play Harness Lightning. Smart. Doesn't want the Hub to actually untap because the negate can work itself into the equation.
Yes. And this is a relatively low-risk way of going for it because as long as you leave yourself with Saheeli Rye left over, then you're at least improving your draw step.
So one of the fun things now is we get to see the back and forth here between the players when they're trying to combo back and forth. Feels a little twin-esque. Not the exact same, but we have seen this sort of thing before. Kassis will draw. Authority of the Councils.
Okay, well, that shifts things quite a bit.
Yes, it does. That's a one of in his main deck this weekend.
And 0 copies of Nahiri in Jones's deck, in the main deck, which means the combo's off the table.
And now Kassis can comfortably tap out for a card like Cloud Blazer, which in combination with Saheeli, pretty good.
Yeah, it's an odd one-up to have in the deck, but when I was looking at these deck lists, the concerns I had from Kassis' side of the table is he has a lot of cards that require him to commit mana on his own turn.
Sure.
When you have Authority of the Councils, now he doesn't have to worry about getting killed on the way back, and he can just now he's heavily advantaged in a normal game of Magic over Jones's deck, which is much more about the combo game 1.
Eli going to play a copy of Botanical Sanctum and simply pass the turn back over to Kevin. Kevin has land 6. He's going to pump his Saheeli up to 5. Kassis is going to fall down to 3. Top card's going to go to the bottom from the Scry. So now this is going to be the fun question of, okay, can Kevin actually win when there's a main deck copy of Authority of the Councils? No disenchant or any of that stuff lying around. It's pretty much on Torrential Gearhulk to get the job done now.
Yep. And if we're talking about which list is set up to better play a value grind game, it's Kassis' by a lot.
So you see the Authority. 1 mana enchantment, just a single white mana. Creatures your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped, and then whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain a life. So it does a really nice job of shorting out the combo. And it's very difficult for Jones's build of Jeskai Saheeli to get this off the battlefield, which is why I think we've seen players move towards Nahiri. in their main deck this weekend. Though you don't expect Authority of the Councils to be a main deck card. Cloud Blazer is going to go after Saheeli. Kevin's going to watch a Saheeli fall down to 2 as Eli's goes up to 4. Top card becomes the bottom card there for Kassis. And pass the turn back. Torrential Gearhulk here for Jones. It's going to enter the battlefield, tap Kassis will gain a life. And now looks like this is going to resolve. So what's the big Gearhulk going to do here?
I think it's hard. I think Jones just needs to accumulate cards here.
Glimmer of Genius?
Yeah. I don't think the removal spell gets him all that far. I guess the hope could be I'm going to take a removal spell, knock out your Cloud Blazer that's available to block, have Torrential Gearhulk attack Saheeli Rai, and then be at something at parity. But it makes it really bad if Kassis has a way to kill the Torrential Gearhulk.
Which he does. So that's off the table. And it's got to be so comfortable for Kassis to just go, all right, I have 1 mana up, but you can't combo me, so your turn. Really good spot to be in. Jones will draw a card. Picked up an island. Tough sledding ahead here for Kevin Jones. Does have another copy of Torrential Gearhulk in hand, however.
But that's kind of, I mean, I guess he also has Whirler Virtuoso, but again, this is not the value game. Kevin can play it. He has some cards that allow him to do that, but not nearly as well as Kassis.
Four mana. Okay. Gonna go to Fumarole. Take care of Saheeli. We can get behind that. Plus the Saheeli. Take a look at the top card now. Will Jones becomes the bottom card. And simply pass the turn back. We head over to Eli Kassis, who will draw. Three mana. I think it's going to be another Rogue Refiner. That's 2 energy and a card. So you're a big fan of this one, huh?
I just think on rate, this card's excellent. I wish Kassis' deck was doing a little bit more with energy.
Okay.
And I don't think you're going to see this card at maximum strength outside of those kind of lists. But, I mean, I still think Aetherworks Marvel has a chance to be a viable deck. And if these Teamer kind of value Aetherworks Marvel lists are still viable, this card seems like a perfect addition.
Saheeli going to come down. You saw Kassis pay for it off of a forest, a mountain, and Inspiring Vantage, but he can do that because of Oath of Nissa. He also has Prophetic Prism if he wants to use that too, but he hasn't needed to just yet. Plays a hub, gets another energy, serving to the Conduit as well. And yeah, it's weird to say this because it's not accurate, but it feels like kind of Birthing Pod-esque what's going on here a little bit. Just like this 4-color value deck that's got this combo wrapped in.
And what's telling here is that Jones, I believe, has drawn his other copy of Torrential Gearhulk. He's only got 2 in the list.
Okay.
He's drawn a lot of his best tools to play this kind of game, and he just can't. I don't think he can really do it on Kassis' level.
I'd be surprised if he can. Hey, I mean, you asked what the payoff was for energy. I think it's pretty simple. It's just Harness Lightning is basically Terminate.
Yeah, and if that's the answer, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But I suspect that you can do better. Not to say Kassis should be playing different cards, just I don't think this is the end of the road for just working decks with Rogue Refiner.
Saheeli is going to go up to 5. Top card goes to the bottom. Wandering Fumarole was nope, just Torrential Gearhawk. Okay. Kevin slid it forward.
Yeah, that was. This feels like a weird spot to activate your Fumarole. This makes sense.
Yeah. Your Gearhawk's going to recast a Glimmer of Genius. With that on the stack, Harness Lightning's going to take care of that. So now is it on the super backdoor plan of Whirler Virtuoso?
That's about it.
Okay.
Let's say for argument's sake we rule out Felidar Guardian beatdowns.
I'm willing to rule that out.
Just, I hate rounding down to 0, but let's take that off the table.
Okay.
Then yeah. Both copies of Torrential Gearhulk are down.
Doesn't seem like the best board for Wandering Fumarole to navigate through.
And also, winning a damage race with Whirler Virtuoso against Authority of the Councils is not a trivial task either.
That's true. Not the easiest thing to do. Jones, a lot of cards in hand. The question is, do they actually do anything? Drew a shock. The first thing he's got to do is get this Saheeli off the board, I think. Oath of Chandra. Okay. Cloud Blazer down. Card, I think, is primed for an uptick.
Yep. And that is probably the card that Jones most needs to get off the battlefield for blinking considerations.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with that.
And if he has to go to Whirler Virtuoso, then you want to manage the flyers as much as possible also.
He's going to go to Virtuoso. Kassis will draw a card because of the authority. Kevin will get 3 more energy. And now we go over to Kassis. He'll draw. The tough part about kind of this whole thing is if Eli just ever finds a Felidar Guardian, I think the game just ends.
Well, Jones is sitting on shock.
True.
He can break up. Well, that shock may need to go elsewhere.
Oh, yeah, because the shock blocks the shock blinks the Saheeli back down. Okay, got it.
And now this is the squeeze that Kassis can say is, all right, well, I'll target my Rogue Refiner. Do you want to use your shock here? If you don't, all right, Kassis is still accumulating more cards. He's winning the damage race. And if you use your shock here, well, if he has Felidar Guardian, you just die.
You just die, yeah. Got it. Kevin doesn't want to use his energy. So Kassis has a copy of a Rogue Refiner, which means he got to draw a card and got 2 more energy. He's up to 5. Does put you in the squeeze. Beatdowns. For 8, Jones going to fall down to 5. Kassis with another copy of a Tune in hand. I like a Tune in his deck, too. Just going to pass the turn back. Kevin going to cash in some energy here. Going to fall down to 1, which means a couple of Thopters on the way. Kassis going to gain some life, of course, from this, so long as he does remember because of Authority of the Councils. But Kevin could really use some Thopter blockers. And now he has some.
Also an opportunity for him to go after Saheeli Rai.
Mm-hmm. Hub the draw. He'll play the hub, getting energy up to 2. I don't think Kevin is in the worst spot.
Problem is he's at 4. And he can't generate blockers. He's on 1 turn delay for blocking because of the Authority of Councils.
I don't envy his position.
He's not out of it.
Yeah, but he's not out of it.
He can sort of manage the battlefield, but he's in, if he's leaving back both of his tokens here, that's an indicator that he believes it's likely he'll need a chump block.
He can play a Felidar Guardian this turn. Blink the Oath. Kill a Rogue Refiner. I think that's what you're going to see him do. We're definitely going to see him play the Guardian. Yep. Exile, come back, trigger, kill the Rogue Refiner. Has Shock in hand. Has Glimmer of Genius in hand.
It's a very good setup, and now Kassis without either combo piece.
Yep. Kassis will draw. Servant. I think we're going to see a double block. Yep. What's Kassis going to go to now? He's in some trouble, I think. Another Servant of the Conduit.
An issue that I have with Kassis' deck, and you know it's week 1, we're all kind of learning here, is if you're playing a Servant of the Conduit and you're playing Attune the Aether because you know you need some amount of mana fixing and you want some energies for your Harness Lightning, Kassis doesn't have really big payouts with a lot of mana, so his deck's likely to flood out because he's searching for a lot of lands and he's drawing a lot of cards.
Sure. That makes sense. He doesn't have just a big payoff in a general sense, nor does he have a large energy payout.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think in games like this, he is likely to flood out, certainly more than Jones's deck, which it looks a lot leaner here.
Jones got a long way to go to cross the finish line, though. Picked up a copy and negate. I think that's pretty important.
I mean, he's got negate and he's got 2 shocks, so he's got Planeswalker covered. And he's got the threats that Kassis has brought to the battlefield thus far. He's got covered too.
Yeah, play a Prophetic Prism. That'll draw Kevin a card. Another Felidar Guardian. Yeah, all right. Blink the Oath again, I guess?
Sure. I also wouldn't mind blinking the Prophetic Prism.
Get another card?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, either's fine. Servant of the Conduit doesn't really block very much on this table. So it's not. I'm not in a huge rush to get it off the battlefield.
Well, Kevin just says, I'll shock there. We'll exchange resources that way.
Yeah, I don't mind the shock. I'm still probably more interested in drawing a card here than resetting the Oath of Chandra.
Here's an attack for 5. Kassis down to 24. Felidar Guardian enters the battlefield tapped. Kassis will go back to 25. Trigger. Yeah, let's go with the Prism like you wanted. Draw a card. Picked up an island. Negate Shock Island in hand. Pass the turn back. Good draw there from Kassis. It's an Oath. Top 3 cards. Nahiri. Not a big deal.
Nope.
Negate ready for that.
Plus just the beatdowns.
Mm-hmm. Here is Nahiri. I think we're going to see Kevin negate that pretty quickly. We do. And now Jones is quickly untapping.
With a lot of mana to work with here. Wandering Fumaroles at the ready.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got this in 2 turns, assuming no response here from Kassis.
Yep, you see Kevin's already getting ready for the Wandering Fumarole. Just wants to make sure he can activate them both, which it looks like he can. Now the question is, does he want to activate them both?
Yeah, if he's got it covered in 2 turns anyway, then he may just want to leave up the shock mana.
Yeah, the question, you don't know what's coming from Kassis' deck. It's so many different colors, so you kind of want to play a little conservative if you can. Not entirely sure what to expect. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like Kassis is going to fall down to 15.
And by attacking with the second Fumarole plus the shock in hand next turn, he still has 2 turns. Has the game in 2 turns.
Kassis will play an Oath of Nissa. Top couple of cards. How do you do? Servant of the Conduit's not great. Servant's in. More energy. Kevin might actually be able to pull this one off. I wasn't sure if he'd be able to beat Authority game 1.
It is basically just a function of Kassis flooding out here, and I do not think that is random. I think with the amount of card drawing, the amount of Attune of the Aether, Servant of the Conduit stuff, the fact that he doesn't have very much to do with a lot of mana, this is going to be something that Kassis runs into a lot over long games.
Jones is going to untap. Eli helps him out just a smidge. Kevin will draw. Harness Lightning. So does he have enough mana to be able to fire both fumaroles, harness lightning, and shock?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
That's
either.
13 mana.
That's a lot. The only reason I ask, of course, is because I'm sure Kevin would like it so that Eli does not get another turn. There's Harness Lightning.
And I think keeping up appearances for one turn was fine for Jones to respect the possibility of the combo. For Kassis to do basically nothing last turn, clearly he drew Oath of Nissa, found Servant, and passed. I think you can pretty safely predict he's on nothing.
Beatdowns. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yet again. Kassis will draw, and that's going to do it. So Kevin Jones going to win game number 1 here over Eli Kassis. Jeskai Saheeli up a game here over 4-color Saheeli. I did not expect that to be the case once the authority of the council showed up.
Yep, and I think that was just a function of Kassis not having a big enough payoff in a game that went on long. He's got 22 lands, so it's on the lower side for a deck playing so many 4s and 5s, but there's nothing to do with more mana, and he's drawing so many cards and searching for so many lands. Flooding out seems likely.
We'll take a look at the sideboards here. We'll start with Kassis, who's got 2 Fumigates, 2 Nissa Vital Force, 2 Radiant Flames, 2 Negate, 2 Tireless Tracker. And here come the one-ofs, an Authority of the Councils, a Fragmentize, a Blessed Alliance, a Natural Obsolescence, and a Root Out.
I want the Nissas and the Negates, and you may be able to talk me into Radiant Flames based on what we saw in Jones' deck, but probably not. Tireless Tracker, Nissa, and Negate seem really good for this matchup, just giving Kassis more stuff to do if the game goes on for a long time.
For Kevin Jones, 3 Radiant Flames, 3 Spell Queller, 2 Cloud Blazer, 2 Nahiri. Here come the one-ofs and Disallow, Torrential Gearhawk, Blessed Alliance, Dispel, Tears of Valakut. He's got a lot of options here that I kind of like, actually.
I would imagine that the Spell Queller, Cloud Blazer, Nahiri, Torrential Gearhawk type of package comes in here, maybe with Dispel, maybe not, but just set himself in for playing more of a attrition-y 2-for-1 game of Magic.
The clock is ticking on these guys, so I imagine they're going to sideboard pretty quickly here. While they do get ready here for game number 2, we're going to talk about the StarCityGames.com YouTube page, where there's a lot that you can watch. Split Second, you got to see an episode of that today, for those of you who are new to that show, and a whole bunch more that you are used to.
Yes, you can subscribe today over at youtube.com/StarCityGames. A lot of archives up there, including Split Second, Versus Series, Commander Versus, Magic Online playtesting, Best of the SCG Tour, and much more. Again, you can subscribe today for free over at youtube.com/StarCityGames. Become one of over 100,000 subscribers. Get notified when new content is uploaded to the page.
Getting ready here for game number 2 between Eli Kassis and Kevin Jones. You said over 100,000 subscribers. We've almost got over 110,000.
Okay.
People checking it out. Thanks for subscribing over to that YouTube page, folks. It's the real deal.
Yes.
This is the real deal.
I can't imagine people are too surprised. Maybe some people are surprised. I don't know.
This is the real deal combo here. No other way around it. We kind of expected it to be something that we saw here this weekend. I didn't know how much we'd see. I'll say that. I expected to see it in some numbers. I wasn't sure how much we'd see. But there's obviously a lot of it.
Yep. Different takes, at least. People trying different ways of playing the deck. Kassis doing the blinking thing. Jones doing the Jeskai control thing.
Kevin going to finish sideboarding up here in just a moment. But do remember, for those of you who are joining us, first of all, thank you for joining us on Aether Revolt release weekend. But new year, new channel, twitch.tv/SCG Tour, and now at SCG Tour for those of you who want to follow along on coverage on Twitter as well. Change some things up a little bit. You see the SCG Tour things in the background, the feature match area, all that good stuff. Kevin Jones going to take a moment here and get ready for game number 2. So while he takes a moment to get ready, come back to us. We'll take a couple questions if you don't mind.
Well, I wanted to comment really quickly on the card drawers that we're seeing in Jones's deck.
Okay.
It is a subtle thing, but metagames are complicated and the way decks get built are complicated, et cetera, et cetera. So people have to leave up removal. And probably generally have to play more removal than they otherwise would to interact with the combo. That means, generally speaking, you are just under less pressure, and also your opponent is leaving up mana on their own turn and not tapping out every single turn. And what that does to cards like Anticipate and Glimmer of Genius is huge. Those cards are really tough to play if you're just under the gun, getting attacked the whole game.
Of course.
Finding 2 mana, 4 mana, they don't recoup all that many cards. But if people are saying go on turn 3, go on turn 4, with you having a lot of reactive cards in your hand, those cards become a lot better. And that's a subtle thing. And you don't really think of cards like Anticipate or Glimmer of Genius becoming better or worse. They just sort of seem like, yeah, you draw some cards. There's a rate of doing this. This is what the rate is. But they are very much tied to the speed of the format and how much people are able to curve out and do everything they want versus how much do they have to respect you on the way back and leave up mana.
Well, where's our good friends Toolcraft Exemplar, Inventor's Apprentice, Scrap Heap Scrounger? We haven't seen any of those yet on camera. Now, again, I'm sure they're in the room, but we have not seen anyone really try to give the beatdowns here this weekend.
Yeah, but that's the path that I would want to pursue if you didn't want to play the combo deck. I think trying to play a Delirium deck does not seem great to me.
I don't think it's very good.
Put it that way, especially when you have to play against Metal War Colossus as well. Try to kill on turn 4 or 5. Try to have some Terminates, some burn spells. No matter what your opponent's up to, your cards kind of work. You still might not be good enough to beat Radiant Flames, and even beating, Feldar Guardian as a 1/4 plus blinking something of value is problematic. But that might be a better path to pursue than trying to find the right mixture of removal.
Kevin's back, so back to the feature match area. We are about to go. Get ready here for game number 2. Yeah, that's the question I kind of had coming in. Of many, didn't only have one, but how good is Saheeli? What's it look like? All that stuff, and then are people going to try to beat down? Now, Tom Ross isn't here this weekend. Wasn't able to make it. I tweeted about it. Some car trouble, stuff like that. Wishing him well, obviously, the 2016 SCG Tour Player of the Year. But we know he would have been beaten down.
Yeah.
He wrote an article about it. He said, I'm looking to kill him and hope they don't have it. So what do those decks look like? What do your Thalia's Lieutenant's deck look like? That's what we don't know yet. Now, maybe we find that in round 7, round 8, maybe some point tomorrow. I don't know. We haven't seen it yet so far, and a lot of the bigger names this weekend are doing what Kevin's doing.
And it's, those decks still have to be able to beat a bunch of Shocks, Harness Lightnings, Whirler Virtuoso. This list of cards is not trivial for an aggressive deck to beat either.
That's why I think thus far in the
Radiant Flames all over the place.
That's why I think the aggressive strategies that we've seen so far have been green-white. Because they're planeswalkers.
Yeah.
So if you do Radiant Flames them, you do Kozilek return them, you do Fumigate them. All right, I still got Nissa and Gideon left behind. I'm fine.
Right. You can talk yourself into they can't cut me off of everything, and then if I have one piece of interaction, I should be good. I'm not sure I buy it, but it's a convincing story you can tell yourself.
All right, both players are going to take a look at their openers here. Kyle Peters asking, is Painful Truths going to make a comeback? I don't know.
Well,
obviously a powerful card.
So far, the games we've watched, if it's Metal War Colossus and it's Saheeli Rai, your life total is a resource to work with. That definitely helps out Painful Truths. And if both players are just sitting around with their mana trying to react and respond to one another, that's good for Painful Truths as well. You could talk me into it.
It feels like there's a control deck to be built that doesn't have the combo, much like Overturf was doing earlier. Like when we did his deck tech with him, and we'll have that for you guys later today. After he played Jeskai Saheeli round 3, and he said, "Yeah, I have no chance of losing to them," which I actually think is pretty close to accurate.
Yeah,
with how much interaction he has into the Slaughters and Dynavolt Tower, they actually just can't really work their way through very well. I buy that. He's paying some costs in other areas, but I buy it. Oh, there's Story of the Councils again. Well, with Oath of Nissa, I love Kassis' mana. Green, blue, red, white. Easy does it. There's a hub for Kevin. He'll pass the turn back.
We usually have to get to Legacy and Allure to get the Tropical Island Plateau experience.
Yes, you do. An Oath of Nissa will allow Kassis to take a look at the top couple of cards. Rogue Refiner among them. And Rogue Refiner is the selection there for Kassis. Does he have a land to play? He does in Forest. And pass the turn back over to Jones. Jones will play and Anticipate. Great turn to do it on. Nothing to worry about. Top couple of cards here for Kevin. Mountain among them. I think that's what he's selected. Jones will untap. He'll draw. He'll play an island and a Mantis Rider.
But it's tapped.
Yeah.
Can't attack.
Yeah, can't attack. Kevin will just pass the turn back. No Mantis Riders here. There's Rogue Refiner. That'll resolve. Jones could have played a Whirler Virtuoso, and he didn't.
Yep.
Hmm.
I respect
Shocked.
Jones's instincts with these decks a lot. He is a lot more passive than I would be in a lot of different spots, but he has had a lot of success playing decks like this.
4 energy, Kevin will pass the turn back, no 4th land.
So I question it. It looks weird to me, but I also respect Jones's pedigree at this point.
Tireless Tracker, Forest will bring along a Clue. It's the kind of card Eli needed last game.
Yeah.
Kevin's going to make a Thopter on the end step. Kassis will gain a life. Doing that on the end step because of authority of the councils means it enters the battlefield tap. Now we go back over to Kevin. He'll draw. Picked up a land here in a basic plains. Here's an attack for 1 in the air. Jones will pass the turn with, I imagine, a lot at the ready. An island, excuse me, a plains here for Kassis. Now he'll attack with the tracker. He's got 2 clues on the battlefield. Kevin will take the damage. It doesn't look like Eli's going to craft the clues. And now Eli will play a Cloud Blazer. Trigger, Kassis will gain 2 life, and maybe more importantly, draw 2 cards. For Kevin Jones, it's a Glimmer of Genius. Scry 2, Peel 2, and he's already given himself the 2 energy. Shock, and Inspire Bluff Canals are the cards he will take. Now Jones.
A little surprised that Jones ran no attacks, no blocks on the last orbit.
A little surprised too.
I mean, if Kassis wants to trade the Tireless Tracker for your Whirler Virtuoso,
Totally down.
that seems great to me.
Totally down for that. Jones picks up another copy of Spire Bluff Canal. I was saying here for Kevin, yeah, you get to shock the tracker now. I like that. There's Canal. And yes.
Yes.
There we go. Not going to pass just yet. Let's go over to Kassis. Cloud Blazer in for 2 damage.
It's a Cloud Blazer song?
Yeah. It's kind of like a Transformer song, but not
Okay.
as good. Jones down to 15. Mountain follow-up. Oh, the value. Potentially. Trigger, target, Cloud Blazer. Oh, value is here.
Mm-hmm.
Kassis will gain 2, Peel 2.
And this is the other path that you can try to take this Saheeli Rai combo deck is
Yep.
try to turn Felidar Guardian into a creature you actively want to play with.
Same with Saheeli.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the idea here. A lot of the concern is, are these cards okay on their own? Kassis is going out of his way to make them good on their own or in combination with other cards in the deck, where Jones is more or less saying they're basically for combos or to work with Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah.
Jones will draw. Saheeli Rai. Spire Bluff Canal is battlefield tapped.
And it could be the reason that Kassis made a concession like a main deck Authority of the Councils, is his deck involves so much tapping out and so much accruing of value that if he can feel like if he cuts off that angle from decks like Jones's, he should have an edge.
There's another Whirler Virtuoso. I'm going to get that right one time.
Now,
Whirler Virtuoso.
As we saw in the previous game, it's a little bit more complicated than that because I think Kassis' deck is going to have issues with flooding out.
We're over to Kassis now. He's got a Root Out in hand, among other things. And Guardian will come across here for 1. Follow up. Aha. Another Felidar Guardian. Blink. Blink. Feels a little bit like Restoration Angel. Not nearly as good, but
No.
few things are. There's an island. Excuse me, there's a forest. Pardon me. And Root Out. Let's take a look at that. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, investigate. Sure.
I definitely believe Kassis' deck floods out a lot.
Sorcery Speed artifact and enchant removal. Not all that exciting. Jones will draw. Ah, yes, just an innocuous pass.
Could be nothing.
Nothing over there for Kevin Jones.
Oh, second copy of Saheeli Rai. That might be enough for Kassis to go for it here.
Aha. I love that he can play it off of Oath of Nissa.
Yeah, doing some real work here.
Forest, Plains, play Saheeli. Negate will counter that. Is Kevin ready for the second one? Saheeli. He's reaching for mana very quickly. Well, we're going to cross our fingers, huh? Hit 1, hit 2, hit 3. Harness Lightning is in there. He has no energy. I think there's going to be a lot of cats on the battlefield here. Here's Harness Lightning, but no energy. So can only deal 3, not 4. And Eli Kassis is going to attack for a lot more than 4. He's going to win game number 2 here over Kevin Jones. 4-color Saheeli. Jeskai Saheeli going to game number 3.
Cool.
You better get used to this.
Yeah. Cool.
This is going to be happening a lot this weekend. It looks like thus far, from the people that we've seen, and we don't have the entire metagame breakdown or anything like that in front of us, but a lot of the named players this weekend have gravitated towards this deck.
Makes a lot of sense.
It does.
I mean, if a lot of people, if you imagine your rank and file opponent, person who lives in the area, drove out for this event, played a little bit with FNM, maybe didn't have the most testing resources on Planet. If you assume a lot of them are on this, I'm playing with Shock, I'm playing with Stasis Snare, I don't need a lot of specific hate for this matchup, I'll be fine. I would definitely want to be playing this deck.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we're not even into stage B, C, or level 2 or 3 of this deck yet, but there's a lot going on here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to like. So these guys are going to play game number 3 here in just a moment, but we are going to take a moment to talk about Jacob Baugh, who won our Atlanta Invitational last year, qualified himself for the Players' Championship, and had a deep run in that tournament as well. So when you come out to Summer Return to get this sweet energy token, we want to congratulate Jacob on his win at the Atlanta Invitational. And now we want to tell you how to go about getting this token.
Well, if you can make it out to the SCG Tour, any open participant or any classic participant will get this token for free when they sign up. If you can't make it out, any order from StarCityGames.com, $5 or more, starting January 23rd, which is right around the corner, will be shipped out with this token.
Congratulations to our Atlanta Invitational champion, Jacob Baugh, and his Energy Reserve token. Big fan of Jacob.
Yes.
Really good guy. And has put a lot of hard work and time and dedication into the game. And that Atlanta Invitational win and qualifying for the Players' Championship was kind of the culmination of all of it. And I imagine 2017 even going to be a better year for him playing Magic.
Yeah, it was nice for Jacob to, basically solidify his position in the Players' Championship with a good run in the Invitational, and then cement it by winning the whole thing.
Game number 3 underway here between Kassis and Jones. For Jones, he just had a Spire Bluff Canal. For Kassis, he's got a Botanical Sanctum and a Tune with Ether. And he'll have 2 energy on his Jacob Baugh energy token in just a moment. For Jones, it's Inspiring Vantage.
You can see the pace of play picking up here, a little bit of shortcutting from both of these players, as now time is a factor.
A mountain there for Kassis. Simply passing the turn. Jones will draw. Does he have Saheeli Rai? He does not. So we go over to Eli. A Forest. A Rogue Refiner. 2 energy and a card. And over to Jones. No Shock. Kevin will draw. Nahiri. Also has Spell Queller in hand. Oath of Chandra too. With how much loyalty this Planeswalker gets in Nahiri, I think it's safe to play this right now.
I'm interested in going up here.
Yeah.
I mean, all the other lines of play he has are pretty mopey. This is pushing him ahead, and pretty unlikely that Kassis can finish this off in one turn, given what Jones has seen out of Kassis' deck thus far.
Love the plus, no discard. Hand's too good. And it does look to be pretty good.
I don't know. I feel like the Felidar Guardian maybe maybe we could do without.
Yep.
I understand he's got the oath or whatever, but how long down the line are we talking here?
Well, there's Saheeli. Kassis going to pump his Saheeli. Now here comes Rogue Refiner. Now there's an attune. 2 energy. It's going to bring Kassis up to 6. We'll get a big die on the Saheeli. There we go. So you viewers at home can actually see how many counters it has. We're going to have a stern talking to with Kassis after this match.
Yes.
How many feature matches he's been in? He's going to use the baby die? Come on, Eli. Anticipate the draw here for Jones. Now here you're going to go up to 4. And Jones looks like he's going to discard something now. He's going to discard Oath of Chandra. Hub the draw. Hub the play. Getting energy. Kevin, still plenty of interaction in hand. Essence Flux also in hand too. Harness Lightning in hand here for Kassis.
I question why you would allow Kassis to untap there if you have any interest in interacting with the Rogue Refiner. Because he's got 4 points of damage on the table, your hand's going to get forced.
Well, there's a shock. You could just walk yourself into some trouble here.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, unless you think Kassis is just going to go untap minus my Saheeli on the Rogue Refiner, which seems unlikely to me.
We're going to have a little fight over shock. Kassis would like to negate the 1-mana removal spell.
And this is the trouble that, Jones walked into here that
More or less exactly what you're talking about.
I really like Spell Queller here because Spell Queller eating up a negate is pretty ideal. It's not something that comes back and does something in most circumstances.
Spell Queller does eat a negate. Harness Lightning.
And doing all this with the trigger on the stack, so in case something happens with the Spell Queller, the negate goes back on the stack and can target the shock. And like I said, I question Jones just even getting... If you knew this was going to happen, then why allow Kassis to untap with all this mana?
Yeah, assuming you don't want this to happen. Which I don't think Kevin did.
Because it seems like a fine position to me to say, shock your creature, Spell Queller up, I have a Nahiri, like that,
Well, he's thinking Essence Flux. Now he's not so sure.
Yeah, and you can see the shock still on the battlefield here. That's left on the stack.
Mm-hmm. Well, tick-tock goes that clock. All right. Here down to 1. Now here's Nothanissa for Kassis. Top 3 couple of cards. Feldar Guardian, that's scary. And now finish Nahiri off. This is a really good turn for
Great
Eli.
turn.
Jones will untap. He'll
And
draw here.
I would argue from Jones's perspective that was avoidable.
Yeah, I think so. Pass the turn back. Kassis can just threaten the W right now.
Might be able to even do it with backup.
6 mana? What is this? Oh, a Johnny. I didn't expect to see that. Here's an Anticipate. Let's take a look at Johnny Unyielding. All right, 6 mana, 4 loyalty, up to 6. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into your hand. Rest on the bottom. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. All right, just a big splashy planeswalker. Copy the Rogue Refiner, will Kassis, with Saheeli. Beatdowns for 6. And what Kassis is trying to do is value you into the ground.
Yep.
But also have the ability to, I think in some ways, realistically, find the combo a lot. She's a lot of cards each game.
Although even from this spot, I mean, Jones could, in theory, threaten lethal on the way back.
He could kill them.
He could just combo out.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't, then I think we're done here.
There's Nahiri. Jones will leave Hub up. Nahiri's going to take care of Rogue Refiner, which has done some really nice work this game. Kassis will draw a copy of Shock. Nahiri will go up. Deal 1. Excuse me. Sahili will go up to deal 1 in Nahiri. Oh, it's so adorable. Target here. Shocking where? Kevin Jones. Shocking where?
It has to be Sahili, right?
Yeah.
There's no other way to break this up.
Yep. Okay. Beatdowns for 1 to take care of the Nahiri. Johnny will allow Kassis to look at the top couple of cards. Rogue Refiner and I believe Oath of Nissa will go to the grip. And any follow-ups here for Kassis? Inspiring Vantage, Attune with Ether, get 2 energy. Gets a Tireless Tracker. What did I miss there?
It was Oath.
Oh, it's an Oath. Thank you. Thank you. They look a little similar. Three mana. Little below the bar.
Yep.
Is Whirler Virtuoso right now. Simply not powerful enough. A Mountain from Jones, pass the turn back. We're in extra turns. We'll make sure our timer is right, make sure there's no extension.
Jones did take the break earlier.
Turn 1 of extra turns now. We could work ourselves to a draw here.
Definitely in play.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised if Kassis can win this game au natural. He's probably going to have to assemble a combo.
Johnny going to go up yet again. Nahiri and Sahili. Might just go for it. Does Kevin have another piece of interaction to stop this?
I mean, a lot of things do interact in this spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dynamic has changed. If they're, I don't know, 13 minutes on the clock, this is an easy game for Kassis to win. He's got all the cards. He's got a huge advantage.
Yep. Although, I guess now Kassis has Shock in hand. For a while there, he was exposed.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's probably got Jones covered.
Now, it's always a question you have to ask yourself as a combo player. Is it time to just say, I'm going for it? That's the decision Kassis is weighing right now.
Well, it's got to be what's the backup plan.
Yep.
Because if your Sahili Rise good, then there's nothing to think about.
Rogue Refiner in. Draw a card. Get some energy. Land for the turn is a forest. Might just play another Rogue Refiner. All right.
It's possible Kassis just thinks his position's so commanding here that he's just spent his card drawing looking for interaction, which he just found.
Yeah, I think that's what he was looking for, too, is he found a negate finally. He's going to play Authority of the Councils, which is going to resolve, which means the combo's off the table for Kevin.
I would be shocked if Kassis does not let it rip next turn, assuming that the board looks something like this.
And there's also a Johnny Unyielding's ultimate to consider as well. Put 5 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control and 5 loyalty counters on each other planeswalker you control. Could just give the beatdowns. That's totally in play. 5 +1/+1 counters on 3 creatures. That's 15 damage. When
That's
Jones
a fine
at 14.
backup plan. You can go for the kill, and if something goes wrong there, then you can just move to that.
Yeah. It's all in play. Kevin. That enters the battlefield tapped. Gonna blink the hub.
And now with Jones down to 1 card in hand, it's trivial for Kassis to go for it because he has whatever. Even if Jones has the card, it's negated.
Yeah, it's negated, and that means that Kassis should be clear for takeoff. 3 mana. This is about to be Saheeli Rai. Yes. Kevin has an Essence Flux. That's not going to do anything. And that's going to do it. Eli Kassis is going to win this match over Kevin Jones. 4 colors Saheeli Rai is going to take down Jeskai Saheeli Rai. And we've seen Jones a couple times today, and I like the build of his deck. But what Kassis is doing is much different. He's making Felidar, Guardian, and Saheeli Rai into real cards. I think he's doing